Yo, yo, yo. I'm Murk.
And I'm Murkette.
Like always,
We back at it again.
back at it again. We got a good question.
That's at the end. What are you doing?
I thought this one deserved a drum roll. This one was, how do you handle disagreements in your relationship?
Disagreements and arguments in your relationship.
You wanna go? You wanna take over on that?
Oh, sure. I don't argue. Neither one of us argue, but I don't argue. So that's really not a thing for the most part. But as far as disagreements, I think the biggest thing is just communication. Whenever you're in a relationship, you're not going to agree on everything. But it's very important to know how to communicate in a way that's not going to offend or attack your partner. That's pretty much it in a nutshell for me. There's going to be times when things are going to get heated. Not often, but there are going to be times when things get heated. But it's important to know that in that type of atmosphere, nothing is going to get resolved. It ain't going to get resolved if both of your tempers are flaring, both of you in your feelings, or even one of you are really in your feelings and the other one in your feelings just a little bit. It's not gonna fix itself at that point. It's important to talk about things when you calm and have a level head and you're not too far into your emotions. That's the big thing. But it's important to just talk before it even gets to that point, I think. If there's something that you notice, if there's something that you feel, just talk to your partner about it. And like I say, know who you're dealing with so that you know how to communicate your feelings or your questions or whatever to your partner so that it doesn't get to the point where it's too heated and then you got to wait for a few days to go by before you can even talk to your partner about it because you're already mad now, you know. So give yourself and give the situation an opportunity to be able to be fixed and without emotion, you know. I think that's what's most important. What do you think?
I think the best way to deal with disagreements is to not let them turn into arguments. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you're already determined this is a person I'm gonna be with, this is long lasting, I don't ever see a reason for you to really need to argue. Arguments usually come out of pride to me because I think in all situations somebody knows when they're right and somebody knows when they're wrong. Like, and you gotta just be like, one thing I like to say, when I'm right, I don't really want to keep going back and forth about it. And when I'm wrong, I want to be able to say I'm wrong and still not go back and forth about it. Like, 'cause I think we need to get to the part of resolution, part of fixing, part of where do we move on. Like, I know I'm right, so why are we here? You know I'm right, I know I'm right. Or I know I'm wrong and you know I'm wrong. Like, why am I gonna still be trying to defend something I know is wrong? So for me, I think, you know, the best way to deal with arguments is not to let them turn into arguments. Like, disagreements is okay and deal with them. I think something else is important. I believe women in disagreements usually just want to be understood. So when you have a disagreement with them, you have to let them know you understand them. Sometimes I think you got to say back to them what they said so they know that you understand. And men, a lot of times I think we just I think it's a feeling of needing to know that we are trying. And a lot of times that's the feeling of a man. So I think as a woman, for us, just let us know that you recognize we're trying, you know what I mean, in many different situations. But for me, arguments, the best thing is just not let them get there. The disagreements, like, you know, there's really nothing we should be arguing about, I feel, because we're going to decide to make a decision, a resolution has to be found or a decision has to be made. And that's all while we sitting there arguing about something.
I think the big thing is a lot of times people focus more on the problem than the solution.
Yeah.
So they give so much effort on what went wrong or what they don't like or whatever. And all that effort and energy could have been exerted elsewhere to try to fix the problem and to see how to go about fixing it. So I think that's one of the big things. But there's something that you always say, the X,
Oh, yeah.
and the...
Some things will get you not talked to for a little while. Some things will make you an X, and some things will get you axed. Mm-hmm. And I don't treat any one of them like the other. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take a petty disagreement and let it boil into the point where we're talking about breaking up, mm-hmm. or boil to the point where I'm going to kill you. Like, we shouldn't be going mm-hmm. there. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to, like, say your piece mm-hmm. and let it go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, especially because when you're in a serious relationship, there shouldn't be anything that's to that level mm-hmm. that you're having a petty disagreement about something. And if you're having petty disagreements that are boiling over, you have underlying issues mm-hmm. that you need to
the root of it.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're ready to kill me behind leaving the toilet seat up. There's underlying issues. You know what I mean? We're nitpicking. We're trying to coattail off of something that to reveal something else, mm-hmm. and I think that's usually a problem. You know, smaller issues that are dominoing.
Yeah, and something else that's important is to recognize a teaching moment versus a punishing moment. That's really important. Sometimes people might be ignorant to whatever the issue might be, and you don't punish them for their inability to understand or their lack of knowledge on whatever it is that that's at hand. You gotta teach them. You gotta teach them. Don't punish them. You gotta teach them. So it's important to recognize a teaching moment and a punishing moment. When somebody deserves to be punished, they deserve to be punished. But when they deserve to be sat down, talked to, explain certain things just to give them a better understanding, I think we owe that to them.
And then you got to be receptive in both positions for that. And sometimes you got to fall back. And sometimes, as a man, sometimes you can be misogynist. It's like, oh no, I'm always right. You could be wrong. And you have to be able to sit back and be receptive to that. And
I think pride plays a big role in that too. Yeah. Sometimes we're too prideful.
I always say pride will reveal the boy in a man. Mm-hmm. So, just make sure that you're not letting pride. And one thing that's very important, when emotions are high, it's always okay to take that walk. Reflect, come back. Yeah. Sometimes people have better communication in Texas, because you can take the emotion out and think about what you're trying to say before you say it. Sometimes you're emotional, and that will cause you to say things you don't want to say, or cause you to be to remove your logic.
And again, that boils down to knowing who you're dealing with. For me, when I get in my emotions, a hug always fixes it. So when I'm emotional, just grab me and hold me, and then I might cry a little bit, I might not cry. But I'm all right after that. Then I can calm down and I can really talk level-headed after that. I just need to be
baby boy, yeah. Oh no.
And then, but the thing about it is, after you go through all of that, what happens at the end of the night?
You're gonna be alright.
No, you have that makeup sex. The makeup sex is like the Band-Aid that fixes it every time.
Because I tell you, man, from my point of view, a lot of times, it's just the woman. She just needs some attention. Like, in my mind, I'm like, you might need some. Like, and it's just like, sometimes that's all it is. Like, you're not giving me enough attention. So now it's over something petty, or it's just moving around the house and you're like, yo, what is wrong with you? You need attention. You know what I mean? And, as a man, as the man, you gotta say, okay, come here, baby. Give you some attention. You know what I mean? But yeah, we should never let it get that serious, man. People clear again, resolution or make a decision. If it's that big where, you need to move on. Mm-hmm. But most of your relationship arguments shouldn't be that level. So then you need to be finding a resolution. How can we work together? How can we...
Let's backtrack a little bit, though. I think it's important to not take whatever the issue is into the next day. And I think that's why that makeup sex is so important. Because if you have an unresolved issue and both of you go to bed, you mad or whatever, you wake up the next morning and then you grabbing your phone and you texting and you mad, and or you starting an argument with your partner the next day because whatever was unfinished yesterday, it carried over into the next day. So at the end of the night or the day or whatever, it's important to just kind of patch it up, get an understanding, cuddle, you know, don't let stuff like that ruin the moment for you guys. You know, just don't let it ruin the moment.
Especially for the people that carry your issues everywhere you go.
Yes.
It's gonna ruin your whole day. You get to work like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, you know,
and then it's gonna bleed on to other people.
It affects household, children, everybody around.
We ain't going to sleep. We ain't going to sleep with it like that. No, we gonna fix it. We gonna fix it. Cause then too, you don't want your partner feeling unloved or unwanted or whatever just because of a disagreement. So you gotta fix it before the day over.
You'll be surprised that you're reading something wrong. Like
That's
you just say something, person like, no, that's not what it is at all. You're just reading it wrong. You know what I mean? As a man, we get reclusive when, you know, we got things on our mind about anger. A woman could misread that and be like, you know, you're not talking to me, you're not doing that. And you just need to let them know it's not you. I got our future on my mind. I got bills on my mind. I got protection. I got manly things on my mind right now. We become so cool. While women become more like,
emotional.
Yeah, like they want you.
Wearing their heart on their sleeve.
They want you to listen. And then this is the hardest part. They want you to listen and they don't always want your solution. Like we're solution minded men. So we're like, okay, this is the problem. We're going to fix that. Okay, boom. We're like issue, resolution. We want to go from here to here. You know what I mean?
What you always say, women just want to vent.
They just want to vent. Like, and I will say that sometimes, but like, okay, are you just venting? Because I don't want to make, like, cause like I'm ready to go to the solution and get to the, you know what I mean, how we stop it from happening again. But a lot of times, you know, sometimes people just want to vent. You know what I mean? They feel like you don't, as a man, they'll feel like we don't care because we made it seem so cut and dry. Like, you know, I'm listening to that. We're like, okay, look, so we just need to do this and that. And they're like, no.
Or just downplaying it. That's the worst. That's the worst when you just downplay it and you're like.
Now, I do that often with many issues. Like, you could be shot and I'm probably going to be like, oh, it's nothing. It's a splinter. But that's just my way of trying to keep a person from sinking lower. You know, I don't want you to be like sinking lower and stuff like that. So I'm trying to tell you, hey, this ain't nothing, bro. You can overcome this, or you can do this, man. Don't worry about this, baby. It's gonna be all right. Like, why is you stressing that? And they may come off a little insensitive. I'm like,
it definitely does.
Nothing,
it
man.
Definitely
like,
does.
You sitting here stressing because your leg gone. Like, come on, man. At least you got another foot. Like, you know, that's just how I be. But you know, again, it's knowing your partner and knowing the intent and knowing that I'm just the type of person that don't want to come down there into the sinkhole with you. So I'm like,
you always say the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we not about to go in this rabbit hole that is endless. So I'm like, come on out of there. Come on out of there. It's how I treat myself. You know, we all had to sit in there as a man. Every man sits in that mirror one time and be like, hey, you little chump motherfucker. You goddamn what you doing. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to give yourself that hard talk sometimes. You know what I mean? So, you know, but you got to know who you're talking to because not everybody can handle that hard talk. So you got to, sometimes you got to put cotton furry gloves on to handle some people, I guess.
What in the world?
Yeah. You can't put on rough gloves with everybody.
Well, not in every situation.
Yeah, you gotta know when to give.
Yeah.
You know, but
just don't.
The way to handle arguments is don't let it get there.
Yeah.
Like, so
but honestly speaking, we know at some point it's gonna get there.
No,
just try to minimize it.
There's no reason it should ever get there.
I agree, but it does.
It's like,
we don't argue. We don't yell at each other. We don't do crazy stuff
arguing,
like that. But
if you're arguing, either you have issues that you need to work on.
Serious problem.
You know what I mean? Because it's the reason I say that the scary part for me is there's stages to everything. Disagreements turn into arguments, and arguments go to a level. You're only one. Disagreements are only one step from an argument, and an argument is only one step from other things that could happen. And
Could
I
be
don't
domestic
want,
or
I don't
anything.
want to get that close.
Yeah.
I don't want
Or
to.
leaving.
When I'm arguing, if you raise your voice at me and I raise my voice at you, and you raise your voice at me, and I'm feeling I can't outraise my voice at you, I may do something, or she may do something to try to get a bigger point across. And we don't want to get to that point. So, really try not to get to an argument, because an argument is just a step closer to something else.
I don't even think you know how to argue anyway.
No. I got that fight or flight mentality. I ain't even left.
And the thing about this, that ain't even just in a relationship. That's just in life. That's at work, anything. Somebody start arguing, you would like walk off.
Yeah, like, what we doing? What we arguing?
No, you don't even say anything. You just leave.
I'm not even about that.
Like, don't say anything.
I'm not about to acknowledge this. That's because my patience can be short for stuff like that. So I know to remove myself.
Yeah,
because
that's why I said you get crazy.
That's why I said earlier, it's important. If you need to take that walk, take that walk. If me and her have a disagreement and I need to take that walk, she has to say, take that walk. You know what I mean? And when I come back, I decompress. She's decompressed. She's probably reflected on what I said. I reflected on what I said. And I'm coming back like, you was right. Oh no, you was right. I understand what you're saying. It's just, and now we're ready to talk.
Yeah.
But in that moment, you know what I mean, you need to know when to walk away. So that's just not relationship, but that's like know when to walk away, reflect, and come back. And sometimes you don't need to come back, but you need to know when.
But even with us, we don't often have, almost never have situations where either I need to leave or you need to leave just to, we kind of don't let things get that crazy. So that's good, but yeah.
Every man, very valuable, important to have a man cave, either physically or mentally, somewhere you can go to gather yourself. And I think that's very important. So, and women, it's important you give a man that space. Please, women, give a man that space. You know what I mean?
Don't be like me. Just want to love on you when you don't want me loving on you.
I'm talking about a man's in that zone.
I know.
You know what
I
mean?
know.
Like,
I know.
I'm this far from Hulk, and I know I'm this close from Hulk, and you're forcing me to go farther into Hulk. You know what I mean? And we all have.
Then you say things you don't mean.
You do something you don't mean. And we don't want to
purposely try to hurt your partner.
Yeah, you don't want to get to that point. So someone saying, let me breathe. All right, let it go. Stop. You need to give them that for a moment, and then you can revisit it, later. So wrap it up again.
We gotta wrap this one up.
Don't let it get there, okay? Don't let it argue. Don't let it argue. The best way to stop arguing, to deal with argument, is not let it get there.
Yeah.
Disagreements is okay. And just treat them as such and find resolutions.
Yeah. Treat them as an understanding, a teaching moment.
It's just a teaching moment. But like always, I'm Murk.
And I'm Murkette.
And thanks for joining us again. Keep them coming. Good questions. Like, share, all of that
Subscribe
good stuff.
to our channel.
Do all of that.
And if you have some topic suggestions, hit our inbox. Let us know, or comment on the underneath the bottom of the video, and let us know what's on your.
Let me know you agree with me, you disagree with her.